They don't have any records, they're telling us, about protection for this little girl. So based on that response, she's not getting protected. It's infuriating. Next up is an issue that, the big media is only now kind of covering because there's been such a kind of a personal scandal for President Biden. They've been protecting him on it. It's an issue related to the president's 7th grandchild. Now, the president has 6 grandchildren, but Hunter Biden had a relationship with a woman and through which he had a child, which has been established through a paternity test. There was a big child, not a custody battle, but a child support battle that he was involved with his mother in recently. And so it's been in the news. But, the question is, why hasn't Joe Biden acknowledged his granddaughter? And you can all have your own opinions on that, and that isn't necessarily the issue. The issue from our perspective is, now that we know this is Joe Biden's granddaughter, he's the president of the United States, is she or is she not getting Secret Service protection as she, I think, should be getting? And we've asked the Secret Service that, and they don't want to tell us one way or the other. Well, they actually did tell us, and I'll explain why. We filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, which is the governing agency. It's the agency in which the Secret Service resides, for all internal Secret Service communications regarding the provision or potential provision of Secret Service protection for Navy Joan Roberts, the 4-year-old daughter of Hunter Biden and the grandchild of Joe Biden. And we asked for these records back in May, and as of June, well, as of like last week, they haven't given us the records. The Secret Service states that on their website, under Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 3056, the agency's authority as provided by law guarantees protection for the President and Vice President and their immediate families. On June 6 of last year, the Daily Mail reported that President Biden refused to provide security for the little girl after her mother, London Roberts, reported to police that she had been threatened by her ex-fiancé, who was a cage fighter, an MMA mixed martial artist, I guess, Princeton Foster. We filed the FOIA request in May of this year. In June, the Secret Service issued a final response stating no responsive records had been located. We didn't believe that, so we appealed the determination and challenged the thoroughness of the search. And but they refused to respond to our appeal. So really shady stuff. Judicial Watch filed the lawsuit, and this is specifically what we asked for: all reports, memoranda, and internal United States Secret Service electronic communications, including emails and text messages regarding the provision or potential provision of Secret Service protection to the granddaughter of Joe Biden and the daughter of Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, of course, had denied paternity initially, but a DNA test in 2019 proved he is in fact the father of Navy Joan Roberts, and he had been providing significant court-ordered he had been providing significant court-ordered child support, I guess, in the last 2 years or 3 years. But I think it's almost $750,000, the last number I saw. Now, President Biden has never acknowledged this girl. And the New York Times had kind of an astonishing story earlier this month. This was like the first major media coverage of this issue. In strategy meetings in recent years, aides have been told the Bidens have 6, not 7, grandchildren, according to 2 people familiar with the discussions. The president has not yet met or publicly mentioned his other grandchild. His White House has not answered questions about whether he will publicly acknowledge her now that the child support case is settled. Now, I'm sure I know I have views about whether President Biden should acknowledge his grandchild. I mean, I just can't imagine any adult father knowingly avoiding meeting and developing a relationship with a little girl like that, 4 years old. And they've known it's his daughter since 2019. And evidently there's been no Secret Service protection for the entire presidency of Joe Biden, despite their knowing that she's at risk. All of Joe Biden's grandchildren can receive Secret Service protection while he's in office. And I just can't imagine any good reason to deny security to that little girl. And certainly her mother probably as well. So this is an awful story. But I tell you, I want this little girl to be protected. I want her mother to be protected. I don't understand why the Secret Service isn't providing the protection. Is this report true that Joe Biden has knowingly refused to provide protection, Secret Service protection, to his granddaughter? Where's Hunter? Isn't he advocating for it? This is a public policy issue, folks. This isn't a personal matter. I guess it is personal, but there's an intersection with the public interest here. Because God help this country if something happens. I mean, I can't believe this is going on. I just can't believe it. It's really upsetting. So we'll see what the Secret Service comes up with. In my experience, the response like we got this from the Secret Service is they have something to hide. They have something to hide. You know, and I'm not quite sure what the law provides for if it needs if the law requires authorization by the president to provide the protection. I tell you, if I were running the Secret Service, I'd provide the protection and then ask questions later, ask permission later. That's what I'd do. Otherwise, I'd be out. Remember, this is the same Secret Service that couldn't find who left the cocaine, right? It's political. It's political. This is a terrible city in terms of corruption. The agencies are just terrible, as we're finding. And this FOIA lawsuit, they don't have any records, they're telling us, about protection for this little girl. So based on that response, she's not getting protected. It's infuriating. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.